The journey up to the bridge is a tense one, and the normally spacious interior of the elevator feels cramped as Hansen keeps his gun pointed at you, a grin on his face. As soon as you arrive, you're shoved out, sending you stumbling towards Vanessa. Hansen Cruz entering the bridge, Captain. That's someone I thought you'd need to talk to.
Oh, Lieutenant Kraft? This is a disappointment. As much as I wanted to trust you, I had to ask the ensigns to make sure you weren't doing anything you shouldn't. But here you are. After we'd gotten so close, too. So, Ensign Cruz, what has our wayward lieutenant been up to?
You know him, stuff around places he shouldn't be, sniffing, asking a few too many questions, bothering people who shouldn't be bothered. Getting a little bit carried away for someone who should just be on patrol.
What have you been up to, Lieutenant?
You know, if you don't play this right, you won't have another opportunity, so you take the chance presented to you. I've been doing exactly what you told me to, Captain. I've been trying to figure out how Quinn and Bartomeu were sending communications without records being made. And you were right! They have had someone else helping them.
Who?
Well, Captain, I don't know for certain, but I know how to find out.
What do you mean?
Trust me, Captain. Get the whole crew up to the bridge, and I'll be able to reveal exactly what's been going on.
Cruz?
Go for it, Captain. If Lieutenant thinks they're being clever, I'm right here. Alright, it's gonna be fun to find out what's happening. Vanessa seats herself in the captain's chair once again and presses down on a button on one of the armrests.
Attention all hands, I repeat, attention all hands. This is Captain Vanessa Lord. All members of the crew, with the exception of Ensign Rumney, who will remain on guard duty, are to assemble on the bridge.
That's good. That means we are not outgunned anymore.
I repeat.
Captain Lord runs through the announcement a few more times, and once finished, lifts her finger from the button, leaning back in the chair and crossing one leg over the other.
There you go, Lieutenant. I'm looking forward to seeing what you've got in store.
Engineer could solo all of them? Well, and considering there are guns in play, though, like, I can understand not wanting to take that risk. It doesn't take long for Dylan to arrive, followed by the Chief and then Dalton. Wary of what this announcement might mean, considering how things have gone previously, none of the three say anything, instead just finding a spot to stand and keeping to themselves. With everyone here except Haru, Hansen takes his place beside the captain's seat, his gun still trained on you.
So then, Lieutenant Kraft, I believe you had something important you need to tell me that had to wait until the whole crew was present?
You coughed nervously. All eyes were on you. That's right, ma'am. You move across the bridge to a position where you're able to address everyone. The crew stare at you with expressions ranging from terrified to quizzical. As Captain Lord instructed, I've been investigating what's been happening on this ship. I've managed to find some significant evidence that shows exactly what that is. You pause for a moment. It's clear that everyone is tense with anticipation. And that is... You swallow nervously. There's no going back now. Vanessa Lord is wrong about everything that's happened and is a mutineer. Captain Bartomeu and Commander Quinn are innocent.
Cruz, detain him immediately.
Alright, Lieutenant, show's over where... Wait, I can prove it. Go along with Lord and you'll be charged as a traitor.
Don't listen to him. Get rid of Lieutenant Kraft now.
Despite Vanessa's instructions, the ensign pauses for a moment. The other three members of the crew look from one another, then towards Vanessa. You can see the seeds of doubt beginning to sprout amongst them. Trust me, you're all going to want to hear this.
Cruz, I gave you an order, so...
Hang on there a second, Captain. I kind of want to hear the lieutenant out on this one.
Cruz, get him off my bridge immediately, or I'll...
Be exposed as a liar?
This won't stand. I'll have all of you.
What's wrong, Captain? Worried I might be right? If I'm wrong, just lock me up like Cassie and the Captain.
I'll do more than that. I'm having you thrown out of the airlock right now. Hansen!
As Hansen begins to move towards you, you know you'll need to do something big to get him to hear you out. Hansen, if I can't convince everyone here, I'm right. Do what you want. Do what Lord wants. But do you want to bet your life on her without hearing what I have to say? Sorry, Captain. Hansen shrugs as he lowers his gun. Gotta admit, the lieutenant's got me pretty curious.
Fine. 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 I'll give you a chance, Lieutenant. Since I'm the captain, it's my duty to listen to the crew's wishes. Let's hear what kind of nonsense you come up with. But make it quick, unless you can convince everyone here, I'll escort you to the airlock myself.
You do your best to slow your breathing and stand up straight. You hadn't realized it, but as Hansen had approached you, your instincts had taken over and you'd slowly been shifting backwards. Thank you, Captain. You move forwards again, positioning yourself equally between the crew, Vanessa and Hansen.
Oh, don't mention it. I'm dying to find out how your murderer of a girlfriend is innocent despite being in the perfect position to be behind everything. So let's hear it then. Your explanation. Maybe you could tell us how she couldn't have killed the doctor despite being the only person down there.
Okay. All eyes are on you as Vanessa's accusations hangs in the air. From this point on, you'll need to be able to provide a counter-argument for everything she says to convince the crew that you're right. If you can't, or if you say something that she twists back on you, or proves incorrect, then you risk losing their support. Your life is in their hands.
What is it, Lieutenant? Had you assumed we wouldn't be examining your ridiculous theory this closely? Or do you think she killed him too?
There's no way Cassie would have killed the doctor. I know her. She'd never hurt anyone. You snap back. That's not a really strong argument.
Is that the best you've got? Cruz, take him away to the...
Wait, that's not my reason. Let me answer first.
If you want us to listen, then stop acting like such an idiot. Come on then, Lieutenant Craft, enlighten us about how you're so certain that Quinn didn't kill Dr. Rosarium.
Because of the condition she was in, right? Well, it's either that or she isn't physically capable. I'm assuming condition she was in because she was subdued, right? She was sedated. Isn't physically capable to me is more sounds like more of an argument like she was too weak to kill the guy. It's the condition she was in. Take a look at this. Reach into your jacket pocket and pull out the doctor's datapad.
Your datapad?
Not mine. Dr. Rosarium's. You quickly scroll through to the task log and present it to the crew. His notes show right here that he sedated Cassie at 21:22. I entered the sickbay at 21:30. You can check the logs for that. How could she kill someone when she would have been completely unconscious? You told me that Cassie was taken to her quarters afterwards for security. Whoever carried her up there would have been able to see she was knocked out too. She was completely out of it when Romney and I took her to the room. You expect us to believe she killed him while in that state, Captain?
That's certainly an interesting thought, Lieutenant. I can see why you'd think that. But you've overlooked something obvious.
You grit your teeth. You knew this wasn't going to be easy. Especially when you were going up against a weasel like Vanessa.
There's still 8 whole minutes between Kun being sedated and you arriving.
Yeah? So?
Don't you think she could have killed the doctor before the sedatives took effect?
Not without how quickly those drugs work. Cassie wouldn't have been awake for long.
It only takes a few seconds to kill someone, Lieutenant. 8 minutes is more than enough time.
She couldn't have killed the doctor before the sedatives took effect. Cassie couldn't have killed the doctor because it'd be too risky. She wasn't injured. The cause of death. I wish I could review my evidence. What was the cause of death? Oh, electrocution. That's our thing, right? She wouldn't have had access to a stun gun. Whether she had 8 minutes or 8 seconds, it doesn't matter. I know for a fact she couldn't have killed him.
Lieutenant, please don't embarrass yourself. If you can't make a decent argument, don't just grasp at straws like this.
She couldn't have killed him because he was killed by an electroshock weapon.
What? How could you know that?
I investigated the doctor's body. There's no sign of any physical trauma like bruising or broken bones, and since his prosthetics are battery-powered, they should still be active. But they're not. Considering they've been knocked offline, and that I found burns where the metal meets his body, the only explanation is that he was electrocuted. No one mentioned finding an electroshock weapon in there, and I couldn't find one either. So unless you think she was sedated, drew a hidden weapon, shot the doctor, and then hit it again, it couldn't have been her.
Couldn't it? There's still 8 whole minutes, Lieutenant. And what if I go down there and find a weapon? Huh? What then?
What, are you going to plant one?
Why, Lieutenant, that's an awfully low accusation to be making against your captain. I could send a neutral third party like Ensign Cruz here.
You're just me, right, Lieutenant? I don't have to trust you. I can guarantee you're not going to find a weapon.
And how could you possibly know that, Lieutenant?
The doctor would have seen it, of where her card was. Where was her card? I think the doctor seeing it is relevant. Well, hold on. If she was doing, like, medical stuff, right? Presumably she would have been checked, right? Where was her card? I completely forget where we found it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Vanessa had her card. Right? Since the blackout, Cassie hasn't had her card. So she would have had no means of accessing any rooms that had weapons in them. She couldn't have had an electroshock weapon at all.
That's what you're claiming, Lieutenant, but if Cruz here goes down and finds one,
then I know it'd be planted.
Like that point, Lieutenant.
Because of this.
Because of your keycard?
Not my keycard. Cassie's keycard. Which I've had since the blackout after you gave it to me. She wouldn't have been able to get anywhere except in and out of the sickbay without using her card. So how do you think she'd have been able to get into the armory?
But...
That's not at all.
What?
Until you gave access to the ensigns, I was the only one on the ship who had the authority on my keycard to get to the weapons lockers.
You could have... She could have...
And any weapons that are taken are logged. You should know that, Captain. If we check the records, are we going to find anyone aside from me taking an electroshock weapon? Hey, wait a minute, Kraft. I saw Quinn in the sickbay. She's the one that took you out. What about that, huh?
A good question, Ensign Cruz. What about that, Lieutenant?
Whoever you saw, it wasn't Cassie. Yeah, I guess you would say that, huh? Think about it. You said that my attacker was dressed all in black. The privacy effect may have been up, but it doesn't affect stuff like color. If we went in there now and stood on different sides, we'd both see our uniform colors as they are. Chief, what was Cassie wearing when you took her to her quarters? Just her standard uniform. So what now, Lord? Are you going to tell me that Cassie's got sedated, killed the doctor, changed her clothes, hid some mystery weapon we can't find, attacked me, and then changed back again? All before the sedatives kicked in. I guess it couldn't have been Quinn.
Well, Lieutenant, it seems like you've put forward a very compelling argument as to why Lieutenant Commander Quinn may not be the doctor's killer. But I think I'll let the inquiry back on Europe Colony make the final decision on that one. Oh, don't give me that look, Cathays. Even if there is the slight chance that she's innocent of killing the doctor, we can't forget that she abandoned the ship in its time of need. You were there after all, Lieutenant, when she took a little nap to avoid helping us solve the problem she no doubt caused. The same goes for Bartimeus, in case you forgot.
That's nonsense, and you know it.
Isn't? Don't tell me you think you've got something to say about that as well.
Yeah, I can tell that they had nothing to do with it. Guessing the captain weren't responsible for the sabotage because they'd have died too. Nah. They were both unwell. They're out of commission. You don't know what the actual sabotage was, but you're confident that the captain and Cassie were responsible because they didn't help out?
I suppose if you want a simpler way to put it, I'd call them traitors, though through inactivity. They made a choice, and that was to let us die.
But they didn't have a choice. Look at this! You navigate through the menus on the doctor's datapad that you still hold in your hand, working your way to Cassie's medical logs. All these entries for Cassie. All the scans and treatments. Dr. Rosarium's notes about her condition when I brought her down. Then there's the captain. You navigate through to Captain Bartolomew's entry that shows the doctor treating her shortly after you'd restored power. They weren't making a choice, they were incapacitated. You think the doctor would have done all of this if it wasn't necessary, Lord? Are you trying to make us think he was incompetent?
I'm doing no such thing, but he may have made mistakes.
That's right. You don't have anything against either of them. This whole thing's just been a big sham so that you can carry out your vendetta. You'd sell us out if it meant you could get ahead.
It's not it. It's not it. It's,
As Vanessa stammers her defense, you can feel the atmosphere in the room change. Where you'd felt like you'd been on trial before, you could now sense the hostility shift from you towards Vanessa. All you needed to do now was convince the crew to move against her and... Hey, but I've got a question for you, Kraft. Sure, Captain Lord here might not have all the answers, but it seems to me that at least she's moving in the right direction to figure out who did all this. If it wasn't Quinn Bartolomew's, who was it, huh? I don't see who else it could be. You jump into their defense like this seems a little bit... You get what I'm saying, don't you?
That's right, Lieutenant. You've been willing to poke holes in what I've said, but I don't see you offering any other options to consider. This ship didn't have a full system failure on its own, you know. And I'm sure Dr. Rosarium didn't just decide to give himself a lethal dosage of electricity.
You pause as everyone's attention turns back towards you. Vanessa was right. If you couldn't show the crew it was someone else, then the captain and Cassie would remain the only suspects. Well, it was...
What's that, Lieutenant? Whenever you're ready.
It was... The real culprit is... someone else entirely. Perhaps not even human. It was... You run through the whole crew in your mind. Realistically, you couldn't see it being a single one of them. No one had the means or the motivation. Then there was what you discovered during your investigation. I don't think it was anyone from the crew. I think it was someone else.
That's great, Lieutenant Kraft. How enlightening. Isn't that convenient? Wasn't anyone from the crew? It was some totally mysterious person who just happened to be on the ship and just happened to want to kill us all that we didn't know about? It all makes sense.
Shut up and listen to me. Instead of trying to blame it on people you have a grudge against, maybe you should have actually thought it through. Was anyone on the ship actually in a position to take advantage of anything when the blackout happened, or were we all taken by surprise? Is there even any sign that the cause of the blackout came from within the ship? Not that I've seen. Plus, the same thing happened to the O'Brien. Even their doctor was killed. Are you telling me that a member of our crew somehow did all that to two separate ships? The only thing both ships have in common is that machine sat in our hangar right now. Everything that's happened, it all comes back to that craft.
Well, that's quite the theory you've got there, Lieutenant. Even though it relies on a mysterious saboteur we didn't know existed, who we haven't seen on a ship that's only big enough for 11 people. So someone somehow got on board the ship and is doing all this. What reason could they possibly have, hmm? Who is this person that's the cause of all our problems if they're not one of the crew, huh? What exactly do you think they're after?
Well, with everyone looking towards you for an answer, you stall. When you came up here, your plan had simply been to prove that Cassie and the captain were innocent, and that she was twisting events to satisfy her own grudges. Now, though, she'd lumbered you with the burden of not just proving them innocent, but proving what had actually happened too. Dang, we're going like Ace Attorney mode, where, yeah, like what you're saying there, Joey. The classic video game system, guilty until proven guilty. Where, like Ace Attorney, it's like, well, you raised a lot of reasonable doubt about your client, but unless you can tell us who actually did it here in court, unless you can turn prosecution on us, then who cares? Or like in Danganronpa, where you're on the trial and you get the game over, and like regardless of what state the trial's at, you're not even slightly under suspicion. That it's like, and somehow everyone voted for Makoto or Hajime or whoever your protagonist is. Like, yikes. How'd that happen? I wasn't even a suspect in this case. Anyway. You could tell that despite everything you'd brought up, Vanessa still had some sort of plan to worm her way out of this, to keep the focus on Cassie, the captain, even you. Despite everything, this was still her game that you were playing. What is this intruder's motive? I mean, we don't really know the motive. Like, it's the alien, for sure. But we can only speculate as to their motive. And pirates. Pirates seems unlikely, right? They're not commandeering the vessels, and I don't think there's really anything of value on the vessels. They're a spy, they're after Cassie. We don't have any reason to believe that the aliens know of Cassie in particular. So it's gotta be they're a spy, right? And that would explain how they've been so good at evading detection. Whoever it is, this is, I think they're a spy.
Oh, really?
Was Cassie on the other ship that was destroyed? No. That's right. It could be the Solar Federation testing some new technology to steal information from our ships. But now that we've caught them, their whole plan's gone up in smoke. And they're trying to get rid of us.
You know those books you got in your quarters? They're fiction, don't you, Lieutenant? What kind of spy travels all the way to enemy territory only to get themselves taken on board an enemy ship in their state of art machine twice, When it could be much more easily be someone already on the ship like Bartimeus or Quinn. Well, that's what I thought.
Then if they're not a spy, they're what, Lieutenant? They're... I don't know, it could be pirates? Again, we don't have anything to tie them to Cassie specifically, other than that she seems to have a really bad reaction to the ships. They're pirates. They're pirates! Pirates have been getting more common ever since the war ended, due to all the ships and armored frames they've been able to salvage. That machine in the hangar, it's not Terran, it's not Martian, it's definitely not JCF, it's gotta be a pirate craft. That's why it doesn't work properly, why the pilot's not following standard procedure when it comes to surrender. They could have lured us out here with those signals to try to capture whatever ships the JCF sent. But now their plan's gone wrong and they're panicking.
You should take up a job as a writer, Lieutenant. Because all I'm hearing is you making up wild stories. Gathase, does that machine look like it could have been made using scavenged parts?
Not using any parts I've ever seen.
Deez, have you ever received any tactical reports that there are pirates anywhere near this area?
No, near all pirates inside JUCF territory coming from the asteroid belt.
So confident it's pirates, Lieutenant?
Okay, well, you know, maybe they're after Cassie, huh? You take a deep breath as you think about everything you found out so far. You weren't entirely certain, and you knew it was going to sound ridiculous, but it was your best option. Cassie.
What?
Whoever this person is, they're after Cassie.
What the hell are you talking about?
What I'm trying to say is...
No, that's it. I've had enough. You're clearly making this up as you go along. You're spouting out whatever random thought comes into your head and hoping it sounds good enough to convince everyone that your precious Cassie is innocent. And now you're trying to make her look like the victim here? Like this is all some conspiracy against her? Get a grip. I'm not listening to any more of this. Cruz, you know what to do.
Hey, wait! Hanson, don't listen to her. You know I'm right. Chief. Dylan. Dalton, come on. Please, all of you, just hear me out.
Give it up, Kraft. It's over.
Please, all of you. Don't you want to know what's really going on? A tense silence fills the bridge.
Well, there we have it, Lieutenant. It seems like...
Wait! I'd hear the lieutenant out. Ma'am?
Did I ask for your opinion, Cadet?
No, ma'am.
Then stay quiet.
Hey, don't talk to my cadet that way.
Don't you tell your captain what to do, Cathase.
I want to hear what the lieutenant has to say, too. Same here. Seems like they were really getting to something.
All of you shut up right now. This isn't up for discussion. Cruz!
Hey, sorry, Captain. I want to see where Kraft is going with this too.
All of you will. So you think someone's after Quinn, do you, Lieutenant? Why?
Well, Chief. Why would they be after Cassie? I just have a feeling it's so weak. I think she has a connection to them, right? Her headaches seem to occur in relation to their tech. You take a deep breath in. You still weren't totally sure, but with everything you noticed, all the odd happenings that you picked up on, it felt like the only explanation. You still couldn't quite form a full picture of what was going on in your head, but you knew you were close to figuring it out. You knew that what you'd seen was important. There have been things happening that haven't made sense on their own and didn't seem like anything to worry about, but now that we're here, they do. When I reactivated the Gun-Dog's computer, I could hear the same signal that came over the bridge's comms just before the whole ship shut down and Cassie collapsed. The whole thing went haywire. Everyone's crew reports were flashing up on the screen, but the only one that stayed was hers. Then the whole thing shut down. At the time, I thought the computer had been damaged by the sudden loss of power, but now I have to wonder, what if the signal was coming from that machine when it was on the O'Brien? Why would it focus on Cassie's file? She blacked out when she heard that signal too. She was the only crew member who seemed to be affected by it. It's her. Things keep happening to her. After Quinn, huh? I can't explain what you've seen, Lieutenant. The central computer shouldn't display any files on a fresh boot. Any previous session would have been lost when the power went out. So what you're saying, yeah, it does kind of look that way.
This is absurd. None of these things show that it had anything to do with Quinn. She's not special.
She's got a point there, Kraft. Quinn's just the lieutenant commander. What makes someone go to all this effort for something like that when they could try for a captain or admiral? What makes you think she's so important? Well, what makes her special? She was left alive. She was left alive in the attack on the doctor. Yeah, true. Think about how they left her alive. Maybe she's carrying something, like unwittingly. Unwitting carrier of like biological warfare or something? I don't know. Like an alien type situation? Who left her alive? Whoever's on board the ship. When I got to the sickbay, the doctor was already dead. I didn't see anyone else around before I went into the sickbay, so whoever it was must have gone in at least a few minutes before me. If they were planning on killing off the crew, they'd have had more than enough time to kill Cassie. But they didn't. She was left alive. Yeah, it didn't kill you either. What if the doc was killed by accident or something? I only survived because Hansen raised the alarm after seeing me get attacked. It's a miracle that blow didn't kill me, and if Hansen hadn't hit the alarm, they'd have had the chance to finish me off. Why attack me and the doc would leave Cassie untouched? They wouldn't have left her alone unless they wanted something. Why are you idiots even entertaining this? This is all so stupid. Now do as I say and... Pipe down, Lord! That's Captain Lord to... There could be a lot of reasons they didn't kill her, Lieutenant. Maybe because she was unconscious or wasn't a witness. You really reckon this all comes down to Quinn? Yes, I do. How can you be so sure?
He can't be sure because it's all made up.
Let him speak, Lord. Don't you think this could all be a big coincidence or something? I don't think that at all, because... it's too many coincidences. They could have destroyed the Gun-Dog. Yeah, their laser was extremely strong. They left us alive way longer than we really should have lasted. Well, the Gun-Dog's still in one piece, right? Yeah, sharp observation there, Lieutenant. Good work. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about that craft or machine or whatever it is in the hangar. It destroyed the O'Brien in seconds like it was nothing. When it came to the Gun-Dog, though, it never fired on the ship. Only our armored frame. Why wouldn't it just destroy the ship then and there? You saw how powerful that weapon was, Cruz. Why didn't it destroy the Gun-Dog? Why did all its systems go dead at the exact moment we fly into our own hangar? Why is the ship still functional when either that thing or something out there could knock it offline with a simple signal? There's all this, and then there's everything that's happened, all pointing to Cassie. Silence once again filled the bridge. Was this it? Did they believe you? Were they on your side, or had you missed something critical? Look, I know this sounds nuts, but after everything I've seen, you're onto something, Lieutenants. Chief, you think so? Gotta say, what you're putting forward, it tracks with everything that's happened, the timeline that we've seen. With that all in mind, seems like Quinn's definitely got herself caught up in something. Of course, if that's what's going on, then they're not gonna stop now, that they're so close. They're gonna try something else. I'm with the Chief on this one. We need to do something, figure out where this killer is. Gonna take a bit to catch Haru up on what's going on, but if there is someone on this ship, they won't get away from us. Everyone, thank you. I know it's a lot to believe, but... How dare... How are you all so stupid? What is this crap? You believe that story, really? How gullible are you? Stow it, Lord. Just admit you're wrong. I'm the only one here who isn't getting swept up in your lies. Cruz, as your captain, I order you to... Sorry, Lord. But I don't think you're going to be captain much longer. How dare you? Hey, that's how it rolls. Why don't you take it easy, and... A quick snatch of high-pitched tones pierces the tension, startling the crew and drawing their attention to one of the bridge's control stations. Haru's voice sounds out from a small speaker, audibly angry and confused. Lord, send crews down now! Romney, were those gunshots? Yeah, some freaks burst out of Quinn's quarters and started shooting. Get crews down here now. What? You'll first react, turning on your heels and sprinting towards the elevators. Where are you going? Get back here! You'd already slammed your hand against the elevator controls before Hanson or Vanessa had even reacted. The doors slide shut and you feel the downward motion of the elevator start. Haru had mentioned Cassie's quarters. You're right. Whoever they were after her. You just realized too late. Damn it! You slam your fist into the wall of the elevator just as the doors slide open. Whoa! Sound of gunshots rattle through the air, answered quickly by another burst of fire. Pressed up against the corridor, or the corner of the entryway into the four-side thoroughfare is Haru, gun drawn. Bullets ricochet past them. As soon as there's a lull, they pivot around the corner, their finger a flurry on the trigger as they fire off a volley of shots. Haru, who is it? Hell if I know! Heard something happening in Quinn's quarters, and the second I open the door, this psycho jumps out and starts blasting. Cassie. You lean around the corner, trying to catch a glimpse of the attacker as Haru takes the opportunity to fire back. Oh! Ooh! Wait! Most out of sight, slashed against the wall, leading to the crew quarters corridor is an unconscious Cassie. Cassie! Haru, stop firing! You might hit Cassie! Get real, Craft! I'll stop when they do! As the deadly exchange between Haru and the attacker continues, the central hub fills with the stink of gunfire and hot metal. If you let this carry on, it was only a matter of time until Haru accidentally shot Cassie. You need to do something. Now! Hey, what's happening? Hanson yells out as the elevator opens. This sacker's got me outgunned. Give me a hand, would you? Got you covered. As Hanson sprints out of the central hub, you see him raise his machine gun and pivot his finger on the trigger as he slides to a stop in front of the entryway. Hate this! Hanson, no! You tackle Hanson just before he fires towards Cassie. Instead, he squeezes the trigger as he falls, bullet holes peppering the wall and ceiling. Craft, what the hell? Cruz, she's heading into the hangar. Get off me, idiot! Hanson shoves you off him, and the two ensigns charge down the thoroughfare and through the door leading to the hangar. You scramble to your feet and head after them. You barge past the ensigns and leap each set of stairs. As soon as the gravity begins to lessen, you vault a railing and drop down to the bottom. Stop right there! You as you burst into the hangar, gun drawn. The woman stands in front of the huge mass of machine and foam. What little you can see of her face is indifferent and unmoving. There's no sign of an expression at all. You can't even tell where she's looking beyond the three green lights on the left of her helmet, each one glowing an eerie green, pointing towards you. Stop right there. You've nowhere to go. I'll shoot! You raise your gun, training it squarely on the attacker. You grit your teeth as your demand is met with silence. You glance to her side and see Cassie slumped beside the silent figure. Cassie! Look, just let her go. We'll go easy on you. Uh-oh. Fragments of foam cut through the air around you as the machine's prison is vaporized in an instant. You're thrown back by the impact of its leg on the catwalk, only saving yourself from slamming into the hangar's rear wall by grabbing onto another nearby railing. Wait! Before you can recover, they grab Cassie, slip a mask over her face, and throw her over their shoulder before retreating up the machine's leg. Within seconds, the pair disappears inside a hatch atop the craft that closes as soon as they're through. You spring forward, kicking off the wall behind you, when you feel a sudden rush all around you, drawing you forward. You grab onto the catwalk's railing just in time. The hangar door is opening. No! They're escaping! You brace yourself against the air, whipping past you, doing your best not to get dragged along with it into space. Grant, what the hell's going on? You hear Hanson yell over the rush of oxygen and glance back to see him and Haru hanging on to the hangar's entryway. Get back here! This whole place is depressurizing! They've taken Cassie! We've got to get her out of there! You shout back, the torrent of air continuing to rush out of the hangar, snatching the words from your mouth as soon as you say them. What are you talking about? Get over here! You feel the machine's steps reverberate around you as it stomps its way out of the hangar. Its engines ignite and a searing blast of heat hits your back as it soars away from the Gun-Dog. Give it up, Craft! She's gone! Get back here! Cassie had been taken. Whatever that machine was, whoever its pilot was, she was with them now, hurtling away from the ship. Hanson and Haru remained clinging onto the doorway, gesturing for you to get out of there. Even if you could convince them to help Cassie, would Vanessa let them go in their armored frames? Maybe she's already ordering Dylan to fire on the craft. It's up to me. I've got to. I must. And it's stupid, but I've got pilot experience. Let's go. I must save her. Can't just let her go. She needs me. I'll have to. I need to save Cassie. I need to save her. It's up to me. If I don't, no one else will. But to save her, I'd have to save her. She needs me. She's counting on me. That's it. I'm gonna save Cassie. Let's go. I'm going to save Cassie. You turn and bring your right leg up over the railing. Craft, don't! The ensign lunges out to grab you, but he's a bit too late. You throw yourself into the void of the hangar and are snatched away by the vacuum. You just about manage to grab onto the Juna as you fly past it, your arm nearly wrenched from its socket by the force. Despite the pain, you hang on and pull your way towards the access panel by the cockpit, fighting against the rush of air that continues to buff it against you as you input a series of commands to open the hatch. As soon as it's open, you clamber inside and grab an emergency oxygen mask, sealing it over your face as you activate the armored frame. Hitting the combination of switches and buttons required to start the machine, you feel a dull rumble followed by a swell in vibrations as the systems throughout the cockpit are illuminated one by one. You grip the flight sticks and squeeze, breathing deeply and slowly. You can do this. As you push down on the pedals, the Juno walks forward, and you direct it to grab a machine gun from a nearby rack of weapons before turning to face the open hangar door. You peer at the main monitor, trying to locate the enemy craft amongst the stars, but are distracted as a window opens on the screen to your left and a shrill voice yells at you from the monitor's speakers. You in the Juno! I haven't given anyone permission to launch!
What? Lieutenant Kraft, what are you doing in there? Get back to the bridge. You've got a lot to answer for.
Sorry, Lord. I'm going after Cassie.
You're what? That's it. I knew you were a traitor. This proves it. I'm heading ship with your comrades, is it? The JCF will hunt you down like dogs for this.
You press a single button on the screen, cutting off Vanessa's transmission. You couldn't care less about what she said or how she threatened you. You were done worrying. Everything you did now, you did for Cassie. This is it. This is Lieutenant Chase Kraft. Calic 5. Launching. You slam both flight sticks forward, just as you'd watched Hansen do during his duel against the machine, sending the Juno tearing through space towards where you'd last seen the kidnapper's craft heading. There you are. You force the controls as far forwards as they will go, demanding every last ounce of thrust available from the engines. The cockpit begins to judder around you, but you don't let up. As the gap between your armored frame and the machine closes, it quickly comes within visual range, and you notice it remaining still, almost like it had been suspended in space. In front of it, you see a strange shifting distortion, as though the space ahead of it had been torn open. You're not going anywhere! With a twist of the flight sticks, the Juno banks right, and you bring yourself around in a wide arc, building up speed until... Yeah! Body slam! Give her back! Your head is still ringing from the impact, and you taste blood in your mouth, but you manage to regain control of your armored frame, raising its machine gun towards the enemy. Now! You're not able to get a shot off before the craft blasts away into space. Gritting your teeth, determined to not let it escape, you thrust the flight sticks forward again, and you're forced back against the seat as the Juno hurtles after the target. You hear the engines begin to whine, and the main monitor is full of warnings and alerts, but you keep the controls where they are, not wanting to give the enemy a moment of reprieve. So you gain on the strange craft, and as soon as you're within range, you squeeze the trigger on the right stick, holding it down to empty the gun's magazine. Each round slams into the enemy as the sustained series of impacts, throwing it into a spin. It's more where that came from, you threaten, beginning the process to reload your gun. With a grim grin, your focus, the targeting reticule, lining up your next volley. Wait. In an instant, the enemy turns, its snout-like protrusion already glowing brightly with the telltale bolts of energy emanating from the light within its weapon. It's all you can do to draw the controls back and slam your feet down on the pedals, trying to halt the Juno before it's caught in the deadly beam. Whoa! Through luck more than skill, you managed to prevent the burst of energy from cleaving your Juno clean in half, but now alarms filled the cockpit, and your warnings cluttered your monitor as you realize the armored frame's left arm has been sheared off. You struggle with the controls as your off-balance machine careens through space, its fine calibrations are thrown off by the loss of a limb. You manage to reorient yourself, only to see the enemy's cannon pulsing with energy as it prepares another devastating shot. No! Damn it! Yeah, Hansen! Surprised you lasted this long, Craft. Not a bad effort for your first flight. You got help from the chief for losing that arm, though. Hansen! What are you doing out here? Saving your dumb ass. What does it look like? Why the hell did you chase the thing out here? I told you it's taking Cassie. You're such a sap, Lieutenant. But you got guts. Never thought I'd see the day when you stood up for yourself. You're gonna rescue Quinn. Get moving. I'll keep it here. Right. As soon as Hansen disappears from your monitor, his Juno is behind the enemy, grappling it. You waste no time in following him, struggling against the controls. Your ability to maneuver is limited, but you thrust over to the craft, digging your frame's remaining hand into a gap between its armor. The actuators in the Juno's shoulders screech in protest as the enemy struggles against you, but you continue, not willing to stop now. Cassie, yes! I got her. Cassie,
Chase!
You pull Cassie into the Juno's cockpit, closing the hatch behind her. As you float together in the enclosed space, arms wrapped around each other, you savor the moment. If it was possible, you'd never let Cassie go again. But with a sigh, you release her, taking both her hands in yours. Cassie, are you alright?
I think so.
You can tell from the look in her eyes that she's still a bit dazed, but otherwise you can't see anything that worries you. Come on, I'm taking us back to the Gun-Dog. You push off the cockpit ceiling and land in the pilot's seat, bring her down with you. After the two of you are sat down, you strap yourself back in and take a firm grip on the flight sticks. Hold on tight! We'll be there in no time. You gently push forward on the controls, easing the Juno's engines back into life. Cassie wraps her arms around you, nuzzling as far into your neck as she can, given that you're both still wearing emergency masks. You breathe a sigh of relief. The Gun-Dog grows larger on your screen as you slowly fly towards it. The enemy machine has been taken out. Cassie's back with you. Everything's alright again. There might still be things to deal with when you get back to the ship, but at least Cassie is safe beside you. You let out another deep breath, unsure whether you want to laugh or cry. Instead, you relax, loosening your grip on the twin sticks, and gently resting your head on Cassie's. Bring your right hand up to slowly stroke her hair. The armored frame continues its slow flight towards the ship. The only noise in the cockpit is the dull hum of the engine's vibrations and both of you breathing softly.
Chase.
You sit up slightly and look down at Cassie, who's still burying her face in the crook of your neck. She spoke so softly you weren't even sure if she'd actually said anything until she begins to speak again.
What's going on, Chase? We're getting taken to my quarters and there was this woman, gunshots. Now I'm here. I think she wanted to take me somewhere. I could feel what she wanted. It was going to be somewhere really far away. Far from you. From everyone.
You continue to gently stroke her hair, your fingers working through the strands to run gently down her neck and back.
What happened?
You're silent for a few moments, but eventually take your free arm and bring it around her shoulders, drawing her in tighter. I don't know. I don't know how to find out either. But whatever happens, I'll be here with you. I won't let anyone take you away again. I promise. You can feel a gentle pull on the fabric of your shirt as Cassie balls her hands into fists, clenching material between her fingers and palms.
I love you, Chase.
I love you too. That's the first time you've said that to me. Cassie draws her hands back from behind you and presses her palms against your chest, her face still hidden. You stare down at her, your heart full. As you gaze down on her, she begins to squirm and fidget, once again clasping the material of your shirt in her hands as she balls them into fists. Love you too. With her pressed against you, it's easy to feel Cassie tense up for just a second before her whole body relaxes. It's so obvious that she's relieved that you can almost feel it too. After another brief stretch of silence, she sits up, looking you in the eyes, hers moist with tears.
Chase.
What the hell? Another one? Damn it! Before you can react, this new craft, identical to the one you just tore Cassie from, is upon you, the claws at the end of its leg-like limbs clasping tightly around the Juno's torso. You fight with the controls, causing the armored frame's engines to scream as you push them to their limits, attempting to escape the machine's grip. Hanson! Dalton! Anyone! Help! With alarms blaring from the cockpit speakers and warnings filling your screens, it's almost impossible to make out what's happening. You're just about keeping you and Cassie out of the rift in front of you, but even that is straining the Juno's engines to the point where you know they can't take much more.
Just go, Chase.
What? Cassie, I can't leave you!
It's me they want. I can feel it.
The tears of joy that had filled the corners of her eyes now run down her cheeks, having turned to sadness.
They're not going to stop until they have me. Take a rescue buoy and eject
Let me go! No, I'm not leaving you! More tears flow down her face as she grasps at your chest. You have to! I won't stop! You can't win! Just let me! I said no! You take a hold of Cassie by the shoulders, looking deep into her eyes. You know she's right. You can't win. But you're not giving up now. I told you, no one was going to take you away from me. They're taking you. They're taking me too! You grab Cassie with one arm and slam the flight sticks forward, sending you speeding towards the sheer in space. With a roar, you all plunge into the rift. You don't know why it wants Cassie. You don't know where it's taking her. But you know one thing. She won't be alone.